you talked about the Storytelling Guild, and they teach you kind of storytelling techniques. What are some things that people have to do in order to make a story interesting or to bring life to a story?
Um, Certainly knowing your story well, and you have to like the story. I've tried telling a story I didn't like. It was I managed to get through it, but it was just so uncomfortable. And that story was Hans Christian Andersen's story, The Ugly Duckling. It's a horrible story. The things that when I went back and didn't do the Disney version, went back to the original version, the horrible things happened to that poor little duck. So, and knowing all this stuff, I just struggled through it, and just that I told it one time and never will again. So so picking stories you love, and the longer I'm doing this, the more I realize the stories are picking me. It talks to something in you that wants to be told, and how a stage presence, how to use a microphone. All of those things we do spend time working on that. We meet at the Spurlock every so often, and we can be in a situation where there is an actual theater. You don't have it full, but it's just, I had a horrible problem with stage fright when I first started. I couldn't make it through one story with my knees knocking, and having a safe place to tell helps you get past that.
And people there who are going to encourage you, and give you honest feedback.
Right. And not until you're ready. If you're not ready for your story to be critiqued, they won't do it. Just, keep practicing. And, but getting that comfort with an audience is just huge.
Finding that confidence.
Yeah.
To go out and be willing to get in front of people you don't know and tell a story.
And part of it, I think, once you realize that the people that attend storytelling events really want to hear a story. I had grew up with a Catholic education. I had the little nun inside my head saying, "What makes you think people want to listen to you?" And once I got past that started thinking of what I was doing as sharing what I love with friends rather than standing up there saying, "Look at me." I could do that. And that tip was given to me by another performer. He said, try that. Oh, yeah. But now it's my job to pass that kind of information on to the people that are just starting.
So you talked about stories finding you. So what about a story inspires you to want to tell it,
Sometimes I don't know. And sometimes it's years later I figure out why I told that particular story, why I needed that story. I had told a story for an event, and I just really liked the story. And I had been telling it several times. I told it over at the New Salem festival one year, and Elizabeth Ellis, who's a wonderful, amazing storyteller, when I came off the stage and we were talking, she said, "That story is usually requested by women in shelters." Oh, really? That's interesting. It was probably not, maybe a year later, that I realized that I was one of those women, a first marriage, long ago. There were no shelters back then. But there were still lessons I needed to kind of work through. But I think it's a tribute to the husband that I've been married to for 29 years that I forgot.
Yeah.
So, and stories do really help a lot of people work through whatever they're going through.
Yeah. Sometimes can you tell when you kind of reach somebody in the audience with the story?
Yeah, and usually they'll come up to you afterwards. I really, really loved that story, and that's nice.
Something touched them in with that story. Yeah.
Well, this is a song, a ballad. This is the first one I ever did, and it was a Woody Guthrie song. What I find fascinating about some of the Woody Guthrie stuff is what inspired him to write particular songs. And this song which was sold 8 million records for another group, was inspired from a little article in the paper about a gunfight between a lawyer from Philadelphia and a cowboy. And the lawyer was messing with the cowboy's wife. And from that little article, Woody wrote this song. And it's called The Philadelphia Lawyer, or Reno Blues. Another cowboy song. Way out in Reno, Nevada, where romance blooms and fades, was a great Philadelphia lawyer, fell in love with a Hollywood maid. Come love and we will wander out where the lights are bright. I'll win you a divorce from your husband, and we can be married tonight. Now Bill was a gun-toting cowboy. 10 notches were carved in his gun, and all of the boys around Reno left Wild Bill's lady alone. One night as he was returning from riding the range in the cold, he dreamed of his Hollywood sweetheart. Her love was as lasting as gold. As Bill drew near to her window, a shadow he saw on the shade was the great Philadelphia lawyer, making love to Bill's Hollywood maid. The night was as still as the desert, the moon hung high overhead. Bill listened a while to the lawyer, he could hear every word that he said. Your hands are so pretty and lovely, your form so rare and divine. Come go with me to the city and leave this wild cowboy behind. Tonight back in old Pennsylvania, among the beautiful pines, there's one less Philadelphia lawyer in old Philadelphia tonight.
That's a story in itself.
Yeah, maybe that's why ballads have always attracted me, because they're just stories set to music. And Woody was great at writing.
Yeah, he was quite a wordsmith. So how'd you find out that the inspiration for that? Are there
there
things
was
written about Woody where?
a film that Arlo had helped make called Woody Guthrie Hard Traveling. The Rose Maddox and the Maddox brothers were the ones that had the big hit with it, but maybe it was Lefty Lou, who he had played with. She was telling Arlo where that came from, and after somebody had heard him sing it, they sent him a picture of the cowboy. But yeah, it was a true story, but it was just a little. And to build that whole story, whole song out of it was, that just amazes me.
Yeah. So have you ventured into any songwriting yourself?
Oh no. Years and years ago, just to help my kids, because they didn't like the way Puff the Magic Dragon ended, I wrote another verse to it, and I lost it, and I cannot remember it to save my soul. But it rhymed and everything. But no, I'm not a songwriter. I can play the guitar. I have many instruments at home that keep, my husband keeps wondering why all the stringed instruments make their way in.
Yeah, well, same reason as the boat, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I said, there's not one of my guitars or my dulcimers or my psaltery or the banjo that ever cost anything near what that boat cost. And he just kind of, yeah, okay.